Happy Independence Day, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great time out there, having fun. Yesterday being the 4th of July and everything. I just hope everyone's having fun, being safe, and doing whatever they like to do this time of year, whether it's barbecuing or shooting off fireworks or shooting their guns or whatever other American activity it is. I just hope everyone's having fun, being safe, celebrating the birth of what became known as the greatest country this world has ever fucking known. Contrary to popular belief with some groups out there, I still believe to this day that America is the best country that this world has ever seen. We're just the best. That's all there is to that. Some people might not agree with it, but America still does fucking rule. We are the best at most things, honestly, besides maybe soccer. But really, honestly, who gives a fuck about soccer that much anyways, dude? You know what I'm saying? So I just hope everyone's having fun out there, celebrating the 4th of July and celebrating our independence from tyranny of Great Britain over us. And, long ass time ago, over, I think it's 248 years ago now, we had some crazy kids out there that decide, what we want to do? We want to break off and from, at the time, the greatest world superpower, Great Britain. We want to break off. We don't like the king's rule anymore. We want to do our own thing. We want to try our own thing with self-governance and, prioritizing freedom and liberty and all that stuff. So, at the time it was quite a tumultuous time, with Great Britain ruling over America and taxing us and, not having any representation. That's really what it boiled down to with the Revolutionary War. And that time was that, Great Britain was a long ways away from America. And we were getting taxed no end. And, kind of like we are now still, I guess. But, it was really overtaxation and other overreaches from Great Britain. But the biggest thing is that we didn't have representation. So there's nothing we could do about the laws that came down that we had to abide by. It was just, ruled with an iron fist and is like, hey, you guys are going to do this, whether you like it or not, because that's what the king says, and you're going to do it or you're going to die. So we said, fuck that. And we decided to fight for our freedom and break away from a tyrannical government over a COA, right? So we told Great Britain to shove it right around, well, it's actually July 2nd. Some people, everyone, is July 4th being the 4th of July and all is when we declared our independence publicly with the Declaration of Independence. But it was actually July 2nd that the Lee Resolution got passed. And that's when Congress voted on independence. That's when the founding fathers and all 13 colonies and stuff got together and talked with each other, deliberated, and figured out what we're going to tell the king. Were we going to tell him to fuck off or not? Were we going to lay down and just take whatever, they say? We're just going to listen to King George and do whatever he says? Or are we going to tell him to fuck off and let us do our own thing? And got together, deliberated for a while. I think is actually over a month. I think is written, I proposed all the way back in June, deliberated about for a long time, talked, probably got drunk here and there and figured out what we want to do. And then the Lee Resolution came in and got passed. Everyone voted on July 2nd and it passed it. So then started the writing of the Declaration of Independence. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to word this appropriately to send to King George so he understands fully what we want to do? And that was on July 4th, also known as Independence Day. It's the day that we publicly announced that we were splitting from Great Britain. And that was absolutely amazing. So basically, I just wanted to get in here a little bit and tell a little bit of a history lesson, I guess, and talk about why Independence Day means so much to me. Is just it's a great time to be an American, and it's a great time to reflect on all the freedoms and liberty that we do enjoy to this day in this great country. And I just want everyone to kind of acknowledge that and not take it for granted, because it can be taken away before you know it. Humans are naturally flawed in a sense that we truly enjoy power and money and all this other stuff. So for going back to the founding fathers, like that was kind of a big deal, because it would have been a lot more profitable and a lot better for the individual founding fathers if they would have just rolled over and taken it right in the ass from Great Britain. But we didn't want to, because we wanted to prioritize freedom and liberty and, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And, the crown wasn't allowing us to do that. So we decided to do what we needed to do, whether it meant going to war or a peaceful split. And ended up going to war, obviously. And we fought our fucking asses off for a long time in order to get this country and break away from Great Britain. So I just like to really sit back and, I guess ponder how this country became a country in the first place, and I just don't like to take that for granted. It really likes to refocus, kind of re-zero your thought process on this country and where we want to be in the future. Are we going to sit down and roll over and just take tyranny from certain other people in this country? Because, as much as I love America, we are still flawed. We have our faults for sure. And we have a lot of things we can fix. But the biggest thing is, in my opinion, is we can all bicker and deliberate and, figure out what the best solution is for certain issues, especially when it comes to social issues and all that stuff. But the biggest fight, let's face it, the biggest fight that we have on our hands is when it comes to tyranny still. So humans are still flawed. Certain humans in power today, whether, it's an American government or not, a lot of people enjoy that feeling of power over other people. So that's where I really draw the line. That's why a big reason why I started this podcast. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I started this podcast because I do really truly love freedom. And, freedom isn't meant to be necessarily safe all the time. It's going to be dangerous at times. It's going to be tumultuous at times, but that is really the essence of freedom, is that we are allowed to go out and make our own decisions, pave our own path in this life and do our own thing. The founding fathers a long time ago, 248 fucking years ago, realized that, if you control people, then, life's too short to ruin everyone else's lives, right? So if you try to control people, it's just not going to end up well. The best way for a country to move forward is to prioritize liberty and freedom and, kind of let people of their own devices. And, there's obviously repercussions if you do, bad acts, whether you're murdering and stealing and doing all sorts of other shit. There needs to be repercussions for those actions, and you don't deserve freedom and liberty if you decide to try stealing liberty from other people. Whether you're going house to house and burglarizing or you're murdering people, you're in a sense stealing their rights to live freely, and that's not right. And it's the same thing with these politicians. If they vote to take your rights away and take away your freedoms, that ain't right. And there needs to be repercussions for that. And written in the Constitution of America, it's like, we have the power still, we the people, right? So we have the power to stand up and fight for our rights. We just need to start doing that more. And the old saying of the grease, the squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of thing. Like, the enemies of freedom and liberty in this country, they know that, and that's why they're louder than fuck. But you just need to keep your eyes out and make sense of it whenever our freedoms are under attack, whether it's Second Amendment rights or First Amendment rights or whatever it is. We need to stand up and say enough's enough. We need to keep this country great. And the way to keep this country great is to continually prioritize liberty and freedom, even if that means at the expense of certain safeties. If a crazy person gets a gun and starts shooting people up and shooting things up, it's like, there's nothing we can really do about that prior to it happening. You can't go around and preemptively steal people's rights away and just enforce it over the entire country when just because a few bad apples decided to be heinous criminals and do heinous acts. We can't sit down and let countrywide group punishments is what it is, when they're talking about taking away certain guns or taking away certain rights because of the bad acts of a few. It's like, it's not fair, it's not right. We don't, us law-abiding citizens didn't do anything wrong to deserve it. So we need to be able to stand up and fight and really recognize why do certain politicians and why do certain people really emphasize the bad acts, the bad actors out there? Why do they really emphasize them so much in order to use them as examples as to why we cannot be trusted with certain rights, whether it's gun rights or whatever it is, or, freedom of speech, So we just really need to think and sit down, like, why are they really doing all this? It's like, well, there's a reason. It's because they like power. And when you're able to talk freely and defend yourself appropriately, then you have the power. We, the people, have the power then, not them as in the elites in government and the elite upper echelons of society, of high society, the posh society in America. They don't get to make the fucking rules. We do, because we are the many. We are the majority here. So they need to listen to us. So that's basically, I don't know, I went on this little rant about independence and Independence Day and the 4th of July, but I do just want to leave you with something from John Adams, which is arguably one of the baddest fucking founding fathers ever. He's a beast, but he wrote to his wife, Abigail. He says, so it's kind of interesting because he says on the 2nd of July, because that's when the states decided, or, everyone decided that we were going to declare independence from Great Britain. But he writes to his wife, Abigail, this: "The 2nd day of July, 1776, will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be commemorated as the Day of Deliverance, by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forevermore." So, really cool thing that John Adams wrote. Basically, what I get from that is, celebrating 4th of July, great celebration, is a gigantic time in world history. Honestly, a small 13 colony group of people decided to fight against the greatest world power at the time and tell them to absolutely fucking suck ass and get out of here. Absolutely astonishing thing that the founders of this country did. It was absolutely astonishing. So really, honestly, it is just one of those things where if they can do it, then in the face of overwhelming odds, by telling, having a group of farmers essentially and statesmen and everything else saying, we're going to tell Great Britain to fucking suck our ass and kick them out of here, and we want to do our own thing. So if they can do it, then we can do whatever we can here, whether it's just talking on a fucking podcast or talking to your neighbors or talking to people across the street or whatever it is on social media, whatever it is. I just really think that gun owners and 2nd and 2A rights advocates, if you will, and everything else, we need to be a little bit louder. We need to say it a little bit louder so they can understand and truly make them understand why we are so passionate about rights. Because in my opinion, the most freedom-loving individuals in this country are 2A people, right? Gun people. We're constantly under attack. We understand fully what it means to, have rights. And I just really think that we need to speak up a little bit louder and really make people understand why we feel a certain way. It's not the fact that we need this type of gun. We don't need an AR-15 to go hunting. We don't need, machine guns to whatever. And as Joe Biden said too, it's like, you're not, just because you have guns, on the face of tyranny, his little dumbass fucking speeches he goes on. It's so condescending too, by the way, that fucking cocksucker. It's one of those things where, it's like, you need F-15s to fight the American government, and if you don't have F-15s and stuff, then you're gonna lose. It's like, you fucking idiot. First of all, let's go back to the war on terror, right? The war that I fought in. It's like, I'm pretty sure Taliban's still in control of fucking Afghanistan, and they didn't have F-15s either, did they? Fucking asshole. So basically, essentially what he's saying is that he's going to use F-15s against the American people if we ever decide to stand up and say enough's enough. So it's just one of those things where these people in power are absolutely fucking ridiculous, and they're honestly they're dumber than shit. They are power hungry, and they're backed by a lot of money. That's what separates them from us. It's not the fact that they're smarter than us or better at their job than us. Like, anyone that's listening right now, I guarantee would be a better president than fucking Joe Biden. So it really isn't the fact that, you know, it's just the fact that he's not really pulling the strings. Honestly, he's backed by a shit ton of money and a shit ton of other people behind him that are even more powerful than he is. So that's what it really boils down to, is that these fucking assholes every once in a while need to be set straight. I'm hoping that we can set them straight peacefully and stuff. But honestly, that's why the Second Amendment was written. It wasn't for hunting. I love hunting just like everyone else. I fucking love hunting. It's my passion in life, right? It's hunting and shooting. But just so you know, like, you know, hunting wasn't in the forefront of the founding fathers' minds when they wrote the Second Amendment. It was not even a thought. It was to fight back tyranny. It's because they knew at the time, like, look at the Battle of Lexington Concord, like when the Revolutionary Wars first started off. It's like, you know, they were coming, like the British were coming. The British are coming. They're coming for our guns, is essentially what they're doing. Like, these fucking Americans are getting too rowdy. We need to take their guns away before they do something crazy, like fight us. So you know what we did? We gathered up all of our guns and fought them. That's what it came down to. That shot heard around the world, that kind of stuff. It's like the American history is full of rowdy individuals that love freedom and were willing to do anything to fight for it. I'm not saying that we need to go fucking storming capitals and doing all this other crazy shit and everything else. I'm not saying we need to do that necessarily, but we need to be a little bit rowdier, need to be a little bit louder with our opinions on, you know, our rights and freedoms in this country. That's all I'm going to say about that. Like, we need to fight for this because the founding fathers knew that in order to stay free, the people need to have the power. We, the people, need to have the power, not the fucking few at the top making decisions for the rest of the country. We need to have the power, and we need to be able to fight to take it back, whether it's peacefully or otherwise. You know, I'm not advocating for any type of insurrections or anything like that, but that little spade in your back pocket needs to be there, and the government needs to know that you know, there is a possibility of shit getting dangerous in this country if push comes to shove, is really what it boils down to. And I'm not being egregious about that. I'm not saying that we need to go around doing crazy shit like that, but I'm just saying, like, that does need to be in our back pocket as the people of the country, and all that. That's why it was written. I don't feel like I'm inciting any violence by saying that, but that is why the Second Amendment was written, is to keep the fucking government in check. This country is built on checks and balances, and we are the last check and balance in this country. So that's that. I hope everyone's being safe out there, having a good 4th of July celebration, celebrating the greatest country this world has ever fucking known. And like John Adams said, go celebrate with guns and explosions, because that shit is exciting, right? So hope everyone's being safe, having fun, and, you know, having a great time leading into this weekend, which is going to be hopefully continued celebrations and lots of fun times, right? So exciting time to be alive for sure. Lots of shit's changing. Just, you know, stay frosty out there, if you know. So hope everyone enjoyed this episode. This is just a really quick little PSA. I just want to address the guy, all of you listeners, and kind of let you know kind of where I stand on the whole Independence Day thing and all this and stuff. Because really, honestly, what it boils down to is America still rules. We are the best, and we just need to keep it that way, right? So the hard part's already done. The founding fathers already did that for us. We already fought the greatest superpower at the time and somehow freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness turned into this. What you see today is America from sea to shining sea. Absolutely amazing. So hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. And, you know, if you guys enjoy this episode or whatever else, feedback is always nice. And, you know, reviews on, you know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever else, all that stuff is very, very greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate all you guys listening. And thanks for all you guys listening that reached out. And, you know, that episode I did with the working class guys, you know, working class boners, that went over very well. I didn't plan on going in there and talking about, you know, my service and all that stuff. But I do really appreciate you guys reaching out and saying you enjoyed the episode, you know. It was an absolutely great time. Loved talking to the boys over at WCB, and, you know, we had a good time. It was fun. It was nice. It was kind of a release, I guess, for me to be able to sit down and talk about certain things that I don't really talk about a lot, I guess. So I'm glad that I had really good feedback. That's not something I planned on doing that day. I'll be honest with you. I like I said, I really, really appreciate all you guys reaching out. It does make me feel kind of weird sometimes when people thank me for my service, just because, I don't feel like I had it. I don't know. I guess there's always people out there that have it worse than you do, right? So I don't know if it's a bit of whatever it is, Survivors Guild, whatever. I don't know what it is, but I guess I don't really know where I'm going with this. So I really appreciate you guys reaching out. Is all I'm going to say about that, I guess. And if you want to do me a favor, and I have a lot of people saying they're like, I want to buy you a beer sometime and all that stuff, and that's great, and I do appreciate it. And I'll definitely take you up on that if we ever meet in person and buy me a beer. That'd be great. But in the meantime, I would love if people would go to like their local VFW or Legion Hall or something like that in their town, because they're in every town across this country, I feel like. So if you ever go to the local VFW, buy an old timer a beer. They deserve it more than I do. They've been through harder hardships than I probably ever have and ever will. So it's because of those guys and stuff that we are able to do the things that we love to do today and continue to do things. Whether you agree with the wars or not, it doesn't really matter, because without fighters fighting to keep this country safe and everything else, then where would we be? We have to have a strong military, and we're only as strong as our weakest link, kind of thing. So all those bad motherfuckers that kept this country going before I even got here is absolutely amazing. So you want to do me a favor, I appreciate you guys' feedback and everything else. And also the YouTube video's out now, so if you guys want to check it out on YouTube, you can on the Working Class Boner Podcast YouTube. But I do appreciate all of you guys reaching out and all that stuff. I don't know what else to say. I'm shitty at taking compliments, and I'm shitty about showing it. So this is just me trying to show it. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to quit ranting about stupid shit and let you guys get back to your festivities.